Hi Ben.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for coming on to our podcast. So recently we did a section which was kind of real lies, real story, and real people, and wanted to kind of bring you here to know a bit more about your life, your recovery. So if you're comfortable, are you able to tell us a bit more about what brought you into recovery and maybe a bit of your story, whatever you feel you want to share? Great.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've shared this story a lot of times, never on camera, and it almost feels it might be used as evidence. No, I don't think it'll be used as evidence. What brought me into recovery? I guess I couldn't go on the way that I was going, and I knew that for a long, long time, and I spent a long time trying to change things. Um, the problem is, I guess, in hindsight, I'd never really had a period of things being okay. So from a very young age, all I'd known was alcoholism, addiction. That was right through my 20s. It was a lot of my teenage years. Like, I sometimes think it didn't start till quite late on, but the reality was it started quite early on, like a lot earlier than what I realised. So when I got sober, I'd never really had a period of my adult life where things were not in addiction. Um, Maybe like a month or two of not drinking, but it was never like long enough to change anything. So I might have had a period without drinking, but it was still chaos. And you can only do that for so long. Like, anyone that's been there knows that you cannot live that life forever. And there gets to a, a point, I think, that is almost like a turning point where it's the first realization that this needs to change and this needs to stop. But then it's like, what the fuck? Like, because yeah, it needs to change and it needs to stop, but you don't know how. And then you try, and then when you try and change, and you know that you need to change more than anything, and you don't, and you keep going back to drink or whatever substance it might have been. For me, it was alcohol. You then, I think, start losing a lot of who you are, because your life is fucked, and you know you need to change, and you try with everything to change, and you don't change, and then you're left alone, isolated, and like properly isolated. Not just I haven't got many friends or not many people are reaching out to me. I mean, like, isolated to the point where there's nobody, and the only people that are around you are not in a good place themselves. So you've got nobody really bringing anything positive into your life, and you're certainly not. When I say you're not, like me, not bringing anything positive into their life. So you're going months or years with not really much to look forward to, and you lose any hope, because at that point it's like you've tried everything, and like you've tried literally everything, and you just end up at the same spot. And for me, it was like I would get out of hospital and swear, and I mean I would swear, never again. This is the last chance. This time it's different. I've seen a fucking rainbow, or I've seen some magical unicorn shit in the sky. This is the different time, and I've got it this time. And I remember one time being in hospital for like 5 days, and I was like, this is it. Like, there's no way that this can continue. You sat there with nothing to think about, but how bad everything is for 5 days, and you're like, I know deep down that my life has to change now. And there was one time where that was like that for 5 days, and about half an hour before I was due to be discharged, it was like I knew I was going to drink again. And it was like, that is the maddest, most craziest, fucked up thing. And the other thing is, like, people in my life like would say to me, why do you do it? It's not fun. It was never for the fun. I don't know what it was for, and I don't think I'll ever really know what it was for, but it was never about the fun. So to answer your question, that was a bit of a long-winded way of answering it, but I guess why did I get sober? I guess because I had no other choice at all, and I'm coming up 4 years sober, and people still say, like, oh, what was different this time? And if I'm totally honest, nothing. I really don't think there was anything different. It just was and is. I guess there's something out there that I'll probably never know what it was. That it wasn't me. That's all I know, because I tried everything, and a lot of the past 100 years or so, anyone around recovery will know this. The main recovery approaches are quite spiritual, and I know a lot of people are blocked off from that. And I've certainly never been the biggest like believer or advocate of that kind of stuff. But when you try something for like probably close to 10 years, 5-10 years, and you give everything that you know, and then all of a sudden you kind of switch off, and then you get it, and it's like, that isn't you. So yeah.
Do you think, you mentioned hope and feeling hopeless, do you think that hope and the lived experience of others has been useful to your recovery? So those around you who can give you hope, who have got the experience of being in addiction, were those people part of your recovery journey?
There's probably nothing that I believe more strongly than you need hope. I speak to a lot of people that are still in the madness and they've lost hope, and that is probably the one thing that is common amongst every addict, that they've lost hope. Like when they're in it, they've got no fucking hope whatsoever at all. And like Matty was probably the first, or one of the people that I would sit in groups, and Matty will remember this, not all that long ago really in the grand scheme of things. I couldn't sit in a room with more than like 3 people. I couldn't even do that. Like it was fucked. But like I would go and sit in the room with Matty and chat, and me and him, completely different lives, completely different stories, but we had the same experience in a lot of ways. And then I would talk to Matty and he'd be living his life, and it was like, he can do it, you know, maybe I've got a chance. And that is probably the turning point for a lot of people that get well, and sort of like sitting in this room and listening to other people earlier on today, and they've got hope. And like, if we walked around the streets and went and found people still in the madness, they haven't got that. So yeah, the hope and inspiration that I got from other people is probably the most important thing that I've ever had.
Yeah. Same. Thank you so much, Ben. Like, I know how much courage it takes to like get up and share our stories, but like this video right here that someone's watching might be somebody's hope, and that's why it's important. So I just want to say thank you.
I hope that it does. I really do.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Ben. Thank you.